episode 117 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, your place for all your nerdy needs on BigRedBarel.com. I'm your host, Lauren, the badass of Borderlands, and with me as always is the Baroness of Butts and Mersanti Alex.
The ultimate butts!
Ultimate Butts, and the jaunty, jubilant juggernaut of Joe.
Hello!
We also...
Sorry, I'm broken.
What's up?
I'm broken by the ultimate butts.
Ultimate Butt Master.
That's how you have to scream it.
I know, but that was so good. It was just...
I can
thank
just see
you.
Terry Crews, like, screaming that now.
Ultimate butts!
Yeah, I do have some sad news for you on that front, but more on that later.
I saw your Twitter post. That makes me very sad.
It
But
does,
yes,
it
we'll get
does.
to that, I'm sure.
Yes.
We'll get to that. And we have a fourth chair for a very special Christmas episode. Is it a Christmas episode, or are we doing another
No,
one?
next week.
Next week. Oh, okay. Hang on.
You said your reaction to him anyway. Just...
I feel like that's the best intro.
Basically. Yeah, just like, and sigh.
We love you, really.
The boisterous, bashful banana Bleezey. Why has his name got banana and bashful in it? I'm pretty sure that wasn't the name I originally came up
Bashful
with.
was in there.
Bashful was Devon, yeah.
Also, hello.
Hello. I swear it was ruder.
At one point it was ruder, and then last time you were nice and you were like, we've changed it to bashful, and banana's new.
Why is banana new?
I don't know.
I don't know, I just copied it from, our list below the agenda.
There must have been a reason. It could have been to do with when we found out about all Bleezey's names. We might have just included some more.
I'm surprised that Bracken's not in there. Actually, let's not start on that.
Bracken! I forgot about Bracken!
That was my favorite piece of journalism I've ever done.
All joking aside, I actually think Bracken's a really lovely name because it's all like nature and stuff. It sounds like you're a character from The Wind in the Willows, and I just think that's lovely.
Thanks.
It's a good thing.
Okay, Bracken, welcome to the show. So, Time Waste of the Week comes from me this week, and I think I've mentioned this YouTube channel before, but it's Found Flix. This guy does little kind of ending explain, so he does a roundup of a movie that it might be a bit convoluted, might be a bit confusing, and sums up the ending and what it might mean. So, the most recent one that I watched was Gerald's Game. Do you guys know that movie?
Yeah,
No.
I've been meaning to watch it.
Yeah, so Gerald Game is a Stephen King movie based around a husband and wife go to a secluded cabin to kind of spice up their marriage because it's it's a bit rocky. They're going through therapy and all that kind of stuff. And he has a heart attack and dies on top of her while she's handcuffed to a bed.
Hooray!
Hey,
That's joyful.
sexy time.
That's kind of like a, what now moment.
Yeah, just a bit. So, throughout the book and the movie, I think there's a few different movies. There was one that came out this year on Netflix with Carla Gringo.
Yeah, Carla, from her from Sin City.
From Sin City and Sucker Punch.
And also Entourage.
And Watchmen.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was in Watchmen, yeah.
Yeah, she's the OG Silk Spectre.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so hot. She's so hot. So it goes through all the different things, because as with a lot of Stephen King's work, there's a lot of metaphysical, monsterish, all that kind of stuff. But you're never sure if it's real or if it's in the head, and so on and so forth. So he goes through and discusses the tone of the movie, links it back to a lot of Stephen King's kind of Kingiverse, and explains what's going on. He's also done one that came out a couple of days ago, I haven't watched it yet, about The Shape of Water, the new Guillermo del Toro.
That's not out here until February.
Uh,
I am disgraced. Why do we have to wait so long? Why?
Was it the only movie trailer that was shown at the Game Awards? Which was completely random.
Yeah, it looks so... Apparently it's like his best since Pan's Labyrinth. It's just stunning. I'm desperate to see it. But yeah, I've got to wait like another 2 months.
It makes sense that they showed that trailer because, well, he's in Death Stranding and all
Well, yeah,
that.
and he's pally with Jeff Keighley and obviously Kojima
Yeah.
and stuff. So, they're all good chums.
Jeff Keighley really wants to get in that triangle between Guillermo,
He totally does.
Ritas,
He
and...
wants to make it a quadrangle.
Or a square.
Shh, Bleezey, don't ruin my words.
Yeah, so he does that, he explains about the babysitter and so on, which to me is just it's a fairly straightforward movie, but apparently some people get confused about it. And goes through a bunch of different TV shows, discussing them and giving reviews and breakdowns and so on. Like he did it for American Horror Story Cult, he did it for Stranger Things, he went through all of the Jigsaw and Saw universes to explain the timeline. So it kind of all fits and makes a bit more sense for people who may want a bit more explanation. And they're just really interesting videos. They can be anything from about 5 minutes to 20 minutes long. just a nice little morning time waster.
I've never watched them. They do sound quite interesting. It's like, I think with certain movies where the ending is definitely very open to interpretation, that's really kind of interesting to get different perspectives on it and stuff like that. So yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. And he does one for a movie that Alex is going to discuss later on this episode.
Dun 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 dun.
Segue.
Dun, dun, dun. And moving on to this week's news, the biggest thing that we've been discussing for several weeks now has actually come good, and Disney has bought Murdoch's Fox for $52 billion. It's mainly the television and film arms of the studio, but it now means that we could have a conjoined freaking Marvel universe, and they're still open to having Marvel brand R-rated movies. So Deadpool is still, gonna be dirty as hell, and I love it!
I think this is good. It's interesting. I mean, I hate Rupert Murdoch with a passion, so I'm quite glad that, Disney aren't much better, but, at least it's not Murdoch anymore. But the only thing that concerns me with this is that 20th Century Fox, for all of their faults, have released some really quite interesting films over the years. And what bothers me slightly is that Disney very much are big fans of mega franchises and conglomerate type filmmaking where they're looking at just a big whole sort of property to sell toys and units and stuff. So this worries me in that, are we going to lose a lot of the quite unique films that Fox used to make because now it's Disney? Is it just going to be all superhero mega franchises and nothing else?
Honestly, I've got the same thoughts. I was thinking about it and chatting with people at work about it, and basically it's like with 20th Century Fox, they've got a lot of shows that are very referential to Fox's working practices. Like, for example, The Simpsons and stuff. I can't see Disney allowing a lot of those jokes to slide. The Simpsons always, mocked on Rupert Murdoch and Fox, and, even Deadpool, with the whole, the studio can afford another X-Men. But I can't really see Disney doing that kind of thing.
No. What's interesting here is, obviously people have made the jokes about, because obviously 20th Century Fox own the Alien franchise, and so there's been all the jokes going around about, now Xenomorphs are Disney princesses. Yeah, that's funny and all. But
not really funny.
The Alien franchise in particular has long had a history of sort of trying new things sometimes, and it's not always been successful. I mean, Alien Resurrection is just an absolute, garbage fire. But they at least try to make films for adults that kind of try things out and are quite sort of challenging, like they're horror movies, right? So now, what are Disney going to do with it? They're going to turn it into something to sell merchandise or something? That's my fear.
Thinking on that, if we look at Thor Ragnarok,
I'm
going to come back to that. Disney let a relatively unknown director loose on their movie, and he had, it seemed like relatively carte blanche on what he wanted to do with it, and created something amazing.
That's a big superhero movie. That's not an R-rated alien horror movie.
And also, I think a lot of that decision was made off the fact that Thor: The Dark World kind of sucked.
No, I know, but I mean, they may be more flexible now than we think.
I hope so. I mean, I'm trying to keep an open mind of it and sort of be positive and sort of think, maybe Disney won't just abandon adult cinema altogether. There'll still be room somewhere for that kind of thing. But it does concern me because Disney aren't known for their more challenging cinema offerings. It's all kind of mega franchise Hollywood blockbuster type stuff, and it would be a great loss to the cinema if we lose all those kind of films that Fox used to make. So I think we'll just have to wait and see.
What you're saying is all correct, but I think you're skating around the word that we should usually actually say, and it's monopoly.
Yeah.
Because that's what they are essentially doing, and as much as I'm, excited about the possibility of X-Men and Avengers crossover and what's not, I think we're coming into dangerous territory where we're pretty much letting one big company dictate the majority of entertainment, television, and cinema that we are getting, which is dangerous in a lot of ways. And some of it, they'll eventually annex some of the, maybe riskier stuff that Fox was doing, because, and then also think, Disney has its own brand, like all those things do, and Fox brand, so to speak, does not always align with Disney, so, they'll have to, Disney's name means something, so there's some things coming from Disney, I do think it's weird that Disney now owns Alien, because...
Yeah, it's not a good fit.
No, so it is weird. And I remember when we talked about this whole thing and we kind of laughed about it how HBO will still get money from Lord of the Rings because it kind of owns part of, or it's owned by a company that owns the Lord of the Ring license. And we're like, oh, that's funny. HBO does not really want to do it, but it'll still benefit from financial. It is scary. It is so crazy scary.
Obviously, we're mentioning Alien, but there's so many other properties like Predator, for example, Fox-owned Predator. They can't turn that into a Disney movie, and it just worries me. Like, if I had to choose between an X-Men Avengers crossover and loads of awesome horror movies, I would pick the horror movies. That's what I want. You know, Avengers is great, Marvel, like X-Men, great, but I don't care enough about it to have it like a crossover dictate all of the other movies that Fox made that I really love that could potentially be damaged by this. So
the other stuff that I kind of heard, I am like quoting another podcast here, so I'll be upfront with that, but it's got more far-reaching than just Marvel and X-Men, because like even stuff like Fox had like a 30% stake in Hulu, and Disney had a 30% stake in Hulu, so now they've got 60%, which kind of shifts that whole tide of that's going to be their preferred platform. And I know we don't get that in the UK, but still,
this all links to like the whole net neutrality thing.
And the other thing that I heard was, it was quite a good analogy that was made between, for example, one of the reasons the DC films are a bit rubbish is because they go, okay, we've got all this stuff, so we're going to shove it all in one film.
Yeah, it's movie making by committee,
exactly,
which
and
doesn't work.
I'm somewhat worried that, I know, like, with Spider-Man and stuff, it was a long chat with Sony, so they could only, like, put him in specific places, and they did it really well. But I'm now worried that they're going to go, oh, we've got the X-Men, so, like, Avengers 4 or something, they're going to go, and the X-Men showed up, and then they just put all the X-Men in to be like, look at what power we've got.
It's just,
but then it ends up being like Justice League, where it just is a mess.
Well, they already have their own Justice Leagues. It's called Avengers Infinity War, and we seem to have really been excited about it. But
yeah, that does look amazing. But this, I mean, yeah, I think we're all pretty much in agreement here that this is concerning and not really positive news, and trepidation ahead.
I think it could be positive. I'm trying to be positive about it and like hope for the best.
Yeah.
I know this is the whole conglomerate thing, but if in terms of movie making, I think that don't think we're giving Walt Disney enough credit. I think they're going to start doing a few more risky things, because they seem to be actually listening to the fans now, so they may actually listen.
I don't know, I'm not sure it's in their interest to, because they're in it to make money, and that's the thing. That's always been like the long joke with Disney, is that they don't give a stuff about what they put out as long as they make money. And monopolies are never good for creativity, because when you have one enormous stakeholder controlling the output, then it limits a creative voice. And I think that's what we're going to get. So, you know, like I say, I'm trying to be positive, but the cynic in me is very much like, this is going to suck.
Honestly, like, playing devil's advocate for the other side, though, it could be just like, they could just keep the 20th Century Fox name, and that's how they segregate it. They're like, this is Disney, and then it's like, for example, you know, Fanta is owned by Coca-Cola, but no one makes that association. They're two different brands, so it could be like that.
I don't know. Fanta and Coca-Cola, like,
they're pretty similar.
Sister.
One tastes of oranges.
Exactly, but Coke doesn't taste of oranges.
I get your point, Bleezey. It's like, so they might keep that as like their art house thing. Like Miramax was a subsidiary, and they did all the arty-farty stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, now they're dead.
And good riddance.
Yeah, their arty-farty stuff wasn't good. Except for Kevin Smith. He did some good stuff.
Yeah, they did Jay and Silent Bob, right?
Oh my god.
Kevin Smith.
Oh my god.
All right, moving on. So, update on last week. Patreon reverses its decision on the new fee system. I haven't read this article, so I'm guessing Alex can take the lead on this one.
Yeah, so they basically backpedaled, and they posted the whole little announcement saying that they messed up, saying that they should have really talked with the creators before they put this updates in motion, saying that that's what they're gonna do in the future. They've actually asked a lot of people to give them feedback on kind of the immediate action. And a lot of people came back and said, look, get us an easy way or reimbursement for all the patrons we lost because of your announcement. So I think they are working, like they already set up like a really easy resubscribement system that they send out to everyone who quit Patreon during that period. I don't know if they're doing anything else. I'm doubtful that they will financially reimburse people back for what happened. But I think there's two different strands of opinion. One is a cynical one, is that the Patreon got freaked out that they're losing a lot of money, and they've realized that $1 and $2 subscribers are a big chunk of it, and all the press and coverage and outrage on social media was not working in their favor, and now with so many other competitors, it was easy just to make a move. And the second one is that they just didn't think. They thought that would work, but it didn't. They didn't think it through, and they're actually genuinely sorry. And I actually don't think both of those reasons could be completely exclusive of each other. They could be a combination of both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to show that they kind of listened to people's concerns. And yeah, like you say, whatever reason they have for making the decision to go back, this is good. This is a good thing. So, hooray!
Fantastic. Okay, Alex Garland's Annihilation is going straight to Netflix.
I hadn't heard this until just now, and this is very interesting.
Yeah. So the basic premise is that it is having Alex Garland is obviously the Ex Machina director, and
which is an incredible film.
Yes.
If anyone hasn't watched Ex Machina, you need to watch it. It's absolutely extraordinary.
Personally speaking, because Ex Machina I think was his debut film, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I mean he was a writer before. He obviously wrote with Danny Boyle and did a lot of stuff with him. But yeah, Ex Machina was the first film he directed.
Yeah, and after I watched it, I was there for the ride anywhere Alex Garland would take us.
Yeah,
and then
totally.
And so I was pretty looking forward for Annihilation, and now the Paramount have decided that they're doing theatrical release in US, Canada, and China, and everyone else they are releasing it on Netflix 17 days later.
See, this is fascinating because obviously this is actually like a major movie. It stars Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
It's a big deal from a well-established, respected director, and yeah, I can't get my head around this. I don't there could be so many reasons why they've done it in terms of time of year of release. Like obviously, it's February is a crowded release window because of award season stuff.
Yeah,
I think why they've done it is because they consider it to be risky because it's a sci-fi property, and they're not sure if enough people will show up to the cinema, and financially that's a risk. Whereas they're guaranteed audience with the Netflix.
Yes, and it's kind of showing as well that that people's way of consuming movies is changing, because whereas previously a theatrical release was all but assured for most major movies, now because cinema obviously you get your big tentpole movies like Avengers, Star Wars and stuff where yes, everyone goes to see it, but really cinema attendance is down and is continuing to decrease, and that's because of there's whole sorts of different factors, and big names can't be relied upon to sell a film anymore. So you look at Tom Cruise and The Mummy and how that film tanked.
Oh, that's because the trailer looked terrible as well.
Yeah, I mean there's all sorts of reasons why that tanked, but you can't rely on a major star selling a film, or on you can't basically guarantee that people are going to go see your movie. So something like Netflix is a guaranteed win. And yeah, I think you're right. I think they're lacking in confidence, not because of the quality of the film, because I don't believe for 1 second that film won't be worth watching. But I think it's to do with viewer numbers and audience. I think that's why they've done it.
One of the things that is related to that is a little bit of sad, and Alex Garland did actually comment on it, and he said that he was disappointed mainly because he designed this, he made this movie to be watched on a big screen. And I think with the whole Netflix streaming, and as much as, I love the idea of just having the latest releases on my TV instantly, there is something to that. The fact that we are not getting the movie as it was designed to be experienced.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
Because
I fully agree.
He made it for the big screen, and now we're losing something by not having an opportunity to watch that. And someone might argue, it's just visuals. But in a lot of cases,
there's more to it than that.
There's more to it than that. I mean, come on, argue with me that Blade Runner 2049 is the same thing watching it on the home screen as on a theater screen. Try.
I'm a huge fan of the cinema experience. I always have been. I try to go every week. To me, there's something sort of just very involving about the cinema experience. Yeah, there's negatives, like a lot of the theatre going public can be knobs, and it can be expensive and stuff like that. But the experience is second to none in terms of watching a film. And so he'll have designed the film to be seen in that way, and when it's not, obviously it's a slightly lesser experience. And it is, I'm with him. I can fully understand why he's disappointed, and I would be too if I was him.
Yeah, I'm disappointed because I don't get to see it in the cinema, and I would have absolutely wanted to see it.
I would have gone to see it. Yeah, I would have gone.
Especially since I missed seeing Ex Machina in the cinema, because well, I didn't know because there was nothing, like, I didn't know anything about him, so that movie just went straight past by me, and it's one of my bigger regrets of that year, because I think it was my movie of the year. I'm not entirely sure. I can go back and listen to some Geek Speak, but if it wasn't my movie of the year, it was very close to being to, because it was that good.
Yeah, it is.
And also, Oscar Isaac, so...
And he does a dance.
Oh, yeah.
We get an Oscar Isaac dance in Ex Machina. So good.
And we'll speak more on Oscar Isaac later. No?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not disagreeing with you. We're like, yeah, hell yeah.
No, I just went completely silent. I was like, oh,
it was anticipation. We're like, yes. Well, I was still imagining him dance, so I'm sorry. I was in my own little world.
Oh, he is a good dancer in Sucker Punch as well.
Yes.
Now I'm thinking Love is a Drug. Okay, so this is something that is disappointing everyone around the globe, I'm pretty sure. It's one of my favourite books, and it looks like they're going to completely brutalise it. We've spoken about the teaser before, but let's talk about the actual trailer. This is Ready Player One.
I'm still excited.
It looks shocking. Really?
I think the trailer looks... It's not a good trailer.
Why is Tracer in it?
Overwatch sells, but...
We kind of talked about this briefly before, and I think
it's
unrealistic for them to think that there's going to be like the book, because the licensing is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So there's going to be lots of other companies bidding to be the geek part of that movie, and harking on the modern audiences. They're going to hark to what is popular right now rather than go to the whole 80s spiel that, I think they kind of missed the boat considering the resurgence the 80s is currently having. But it's also not unexpected.
No, I know, but like the tool tracer thing seems very cheap to me. It is a very, very easy thing to put in, and if you read the book and you think about all the themings and stuff, seeing Tracer there is a bit weird.
That's kind of what you say about feelings is kind of my issue with it, with the trailer, is that it looks pretty and shiny and bombastic and all of this stuff, but I have no idea of the characters and their dynamic and things like that, and it just
do you
seems
usually
like...
get that from the trailer though?
Well, sometimes like a good trailer will give you at least an idea of the main character and what his motivations are and stuff like this, and it's just kind of...
Here you go, you get that from the trailer. The main character, he lives in the slums, he wants to escape into this virtual reality place because his life is pretty crap.
Yeah, they did it through everyone's favourite way of delivering information, narration.
Yeah.
Cheap shot.
No,
I
have faith in Steven Spielberg, and he's an incredible director, and obviously he's made absolute classic cinema and is quite rightly up there with the greats. I'm just not convinced by this at the moment. I need more themes and character and stuff like that and story. I'm not interested in all the flashy stuff for this one.
The reason I'm excited for it is, well, like, I recently reread the book. I'm actually looking at it on my desk now. I don't think it would translate well into a film. Like, the book as it stands, because there are...
It should be a series.
A series, or, I don't know, but there's a lot of, like, groundwork and, like, stuff that they have to kind of keep laying over, because the book actually does a very good job of explaining, if you don't know these references, some are going to go over your head, but the important ones they take time to explain. Whereas, in a film, you don't have enough time to do that unless they make it, like, a 4-film saga.
Also, the challenges, actually. I completely agree with you, Bleezey. And the challenges as well, because there's 3 different challenges in the book, and one of them they outright can't do because it's a licensing issue, right? And the other ones, I'm just not sure they're going to be exciting on the screen, so they'll have to completely change them as well.
That's what they've done. Like, in the trailer, it shows, like, the big race that they're showing. That is the race for the Bronze Key. It's plastered on all the signs and stuff. This isn't, like, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen it. But basically, like, I was rereading the book because I was like, I can't remember how they got the Bronze Key in the book. And I went, that would actually be really hard to show. In the book, it makes sense because you're reading it, you get to follow the narrative. But in a movie, it's really hard to condense that whole thing into just one section of a movie, so it's probably going to be like, beginning of the second act? Or maybe end of the first? Where
it's going to be so rushed.
Yeah, you could have a whole film in itself on just that.
Oh, it should have been a long form, like, series, like maybe 4 episodes, like slightly, like hour and a half each. That would have been good. But the thing that's really kind of niggling at me right now, he doesn't look right.
No, he doesn't.
No.
He does not look right.
But hey ho, Hollywood.
And in the poster, he's got a really long leg.
Oh yeah, he does really go.
That poster is absolutely atrocious.
It's like the worst thing that I've seen since, I think it was Tropico 4, where like in the front there's a security guard and he has two elbows. His arm kind of goes in this U shape. It's just like up there with, it just doesn't look right because you don't know anatomy.
When they announced the kid who's playing him, I thought, okay, maybe he's playing him in Oasis. And they'll put like a bit of a plump suit on him, give him some acne and all that kind of stuff. But like seeing what I believe is going to be his character in the Oasis, he looks freaking weird. And then the guy in IRL, and it's just like, dude,
he just looks boring in real life.
Come on. He looks so like kind of generic. You're meant to be this fat nerdy kid who's escaping into the Oasis because you get teased, you don't like your life, you're abused by your family that you have very, very little of. It's like, you don't look like you've struggled. You don't look like you've had to like fend for yourself most of your life. You look like a pretty Hollywood boy who's just put on a pair of glasses.
Does have repercussions in the narrative sense, actually, for people who are like just shrugging it off. It's Hollywood, it's Hollywood. An example that I'm gonna give of the place where it had repercussions before, and I know Bleezey is going to run away because he doesn't like Harry Potter, but I'm going to give a Harry Potter example. Because although those three kids are supposed to be nerdy, ugly, well, maybe not ugly, but unattractive, and whatever you think of the boys that are playing and their relative attractiveness, I don't really want to judge, but you can't deny that Emma Watson is a really attractive girl, no matter what they do to her hair and what buggy clothes they put her in. She is attractive. So then there is a scene in the fourth movie where in the book it's a bigger relation because you don't realize it's her because there was a magical change to her. She really went pampered up. It was a really important moment.
But was that the Winter Ball?
Yes, it was narratively and character development a really important moment just for her, and that people actually started realizing she's in fact a girl. And then in the movie you also get that moment, but it's completely botched because at no point you didn't believe that Emma Watson wasn't a pretty girl, and now she's a pretty girl in a dress. What does that matter? So despite what you might think, that is quite significant narratively in how you perceive that property. So I do think sometimes Hollywood has to we don't have to have, Ryan Reynolds pretty all the time. You can kind of dumb it down sometimes, especially for the roles that describe it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And this is another reason why the Disney Fox thing is concerning, because the reason they want to make characters pretty is to sell stuff. Nobody's going to buy a Harry Potter lunchbox with ugly kids on it, as horrible as that sounds, right? That's why they do it. It's to sell stuff. And when a movie exists to sell stuff, then it limits the creativity of that movie. So, the Transformers movies, for example, they exist to sell toys and they suck because of it. And that's my worry with Ready Player One, is that I think it's heavily leaning towards trying to sell things. And hopefully not. Hopefully Spielberg has got more credibility than that. And, considering some of the films he's made in his career, I would really hope so. But it just worries me that they're just kind of riding roughshod over the material just to make something that's easy to sell. So I'm really anti big conglomerates today.
I think we're all there, to be honest.
I feel like this is where I do my U-turn. But I don't know. Just Ready Player One is one of those things where I've thought about it a lot about. It's sort of like going back to World War Z. I would prefer it to be a story like Band of Brothers, where it's 10 episodes, each one is its own story. But that's not what I got in the film. And just the fact that I am seeing it visually on screen, I am still happy about. Granted, it won't be as perfect as what it will be in my mind, but for very few people it will be. But from what I've seen, it looks to be enjoyable. I'm a little bit worried it looks a little bit childish.
Final point for news this week is net neutrality abolished in the US, which is freaking stupid.
Thanks, Trump.
Yay, Trump.
Thanks, Obama.
Honestly.
Well, don't you sully the world, the name of Obama.
No, wait. Thanks, Obama, for putting that in place in the first place, because that was a good thing. And Hold My Beer Trump has just got rid of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's just the worst.
Guys, who can explain net neutrality? Because I think we do need to. I'm sure a lot of people know it, but succinctly.
So net neutrality, in the loosest possible terms, as far as I understand it, is basically something that Obama implemented so that internet service providers are required to treat all internet traffic the same.
Mm-hmm.
So they cannot essentially throttle anything because it doesn't make them enough money or blah, 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 blah. So essentially, if you don't have net neutrality, you can get companies paying ISPs more money to ensure that their sites and whatnot
have preference,
get more traffic, basically get faster speeds. So if you, for example, like visit sites that aren't very popular or something and don't create a lot of money for people, it might be slower for you because your ISP isn't giving it enough bandwidth because it's not making money.
They can design packages that will limit your bandwidth.
Yes.
So if if you're a gamer, so you're a heavy user, you need a decent amount of speed so you can game and raid and so on.
Yeah.
If you don't buy one of the more expensive packages, you will be screwed.
You'll get throttled, yeah. So it's an absolute nonsense for keeping a free and open internet. If you don't have net neutrality, then you do not have a free internet. And it's a horrible side effect of the times we live in that this is even happening, because it's just that corporate American dream nonsense that Donald Trump sells is what's making this happen. And it's just, I think it has the potential to be devastating to a lot of content providers and producers and people that make things that they sell online, or it's just terrible.
And by the way, for those think that it's only in America, whatevs.
Oh no, it will affect everyone.
It will spread,
especially Britain, who likes to monkey up whatever US is doing in a lot of ways. Don't worry, some kind of law of that kind will eventually be kind of squeezed in the government.
And even before then, it will affect us, because I can guarantee that everyone that uses the internet looks at sites that are based in the US or that are, and this could affect how everyone in the world uses the internet.
Absolutely.
The other thing is net neutrality is protected by the EU, but, if you are leaving the EU for some reason, then you're in trouble.
Theresa May!
Let's not get started on Brexit, because that's just another garbage fire of ridiculous proportions.
Oh my god, yep. Okay, moving on to happier things. Let's get on with the things we've done, played, watched, and done this week. So, oh my god, sorry, I just realised what the first one is.
I know, it's perfect, isn't it? It's like I designed it.
Carry on, Joe. Carry on.
So, Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot is an absolutely fantastic show. It's just finished its 3rd season. They're all on Amazon Prime. It couldn't be at a more perfect time. If you're not familiar with Mr. Robot, the first season started out with this guy, Elliot. He's an absolutely extraordinary hacker. He's on another level, sort of. But he's also plagued by mental illness, and the way the show demonstrates that is really, really quite clever. It's very... If people are aware of Fight Club, it's kind of along those sort of lines, and that's a good way of kind of thinking about it. But it's so much more than that, and it revolves around his attempts to bring down this huge corporation called E-Corp, who he calls Evil Corp.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there's one thing that I immediately loved about that show is that within first episode, it's it's called E-Corp, but I can't help but see Evil Corp when I did it.
And then you see that everywhere.
And that's the only way it's referred to throughout the series, and I'm like, yes.
But that's the genius of the show, is that we are experiencing this world through Elliot's interpretation. It allows for a lot of really, really clever scene setting and building and stuff like that. So he's essentially trying to initiate this enormous hack to bring down Evil Corp. And throughout the seasons, things happen, and there's a lot of moving parts and stuff. And so season 3 is just finished, where he's essentially trying to undo what he did for reasons that I won't go into because of spoilers. What was wonderful about this season is it had so much more room for character development than season 2 did. Elliot is absolutely the heart of the show, and he realises that what he did was for reasons that he didn't fully understand and for reasons that were quite sort of opaque to him. And this season's all been about kind of trying to not turn back time, because that's not possible, but try and find a way out of it to kind of make things better for the people he cares about. And it's just an extraordinary show. The way it's shot, some of the framing is just absolutely incredible. It's really quite funny at times and cleverly done. I honestly can't recommend it enough. I think if you are interested in shows that are of this nature and that have a bit of a political tone, especially, like, it's the show for the 2017, you know, if you're kind of interested in things that speak to the world we live in right now, then Mr. Robot is definitely that. It's sort of anchored around Elliot and Rami Malek's performance of Elliot. People might know him from Until Dawn. He was one of the characters in that.
And he is going to be Freddie
Mercury. He looks so good.
Oh, he is. That's right. Yes, I'd forgotten that. Yeah. I think that movie's in a little bit of bother because it swapped directors quite a lot, but
he looks really good as it, though. Have you seen the picture?
He's perfect.
Oh, he's so good.
He's perfect for that character. But he's an absolutely extraordinary actor. I think he's Golden Globe nominated again for it or something. I'm not sure. But he's just wonderful. And he's supported by another cast of characters who are all absolutely brilliant. Like, there isn't a false note in this show. Like, season 2 had its ups and downs because we were dealing with the ramifications from season 1 and it wasn't particularly coherent at times. But season 3 has picked it right back up again, and it's possibly one of the best things, easily actually one of the best things I've watched this year. And yeah, if you have Amazon Prime, it's all there and you should definitely watch it.
Fantastic. Okay.
And yeah, it's especially relevant in terms of net neutrality, for sure.
It seems like theming is quite violent today as well.
Yeah,
violent and controversial.
Like, corporations bad.
Okay, Alex, you've got something a bit sinister too. We have spoken about this before, but you finally watched it now, haven't you?
I do. And I never try to repeat what you guys said before, even if I was late to catch up. But here's the thing. I watched it like 2 days ago, and Get Out is what we're talking about. And this movie is actually vying for my favorite movie of the year spot.
It's good, right?
Mm-hmm. It is so good. And here's the thing, Joe, because I've got a bone to pick with you. Because from the way you were talking about it, I thought it was going to be a horror movie, and it's going to be scary, and I won't be able to watch it, which is none of those things.
It's quite scary, though. There's some bits in it that scared me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a cheeky horror, you know? It's like
psychological type thing.
I would say it's more of a mystery. There may be like one sinister. Or two jump scares, but that's about it.
Oh, see, for me, it's not about the jump scares. What scared me was just the tone and how sinister it was.
Absolutely.
Burrows into your brain.
Pretty much anything that makes me think about something, that's what I don't like.
I don't know how you live your
damn you,
life.
film, you made me think.
Not thinking.
Yeah, that's what I do.
You know what? That explains a lot.
It explains my whole life. All my actions are based on thinking hurts. It scares me.
But yeah, Get Out. You know what? I'm not going to talk about the movie overall and stuff like that, and you just assume that every bit of acting is absolutely excellent. What I do want to talk about is the writing, because the writing is so phenomenal. There is not a single line in this movie that does not have some kind of purpose.
Yep.
I'll tell you about some of my favorite moments. And here's the thing. I'll name either the event or a sentence, and trust me, it will not be a spoiler because it will mean absolutely zero to you out of context. And I guarantee you, the first time you watch it, it will also mean nothing to you because this movie is that clever. So the first one is the sentence about the black mold in the basement, which I thought is so clever. Then there's the cotton bit, the cotton reference, which was fantastic, just so on its head. Then there's the thing that there is the groundskeeper that keeps running. And the first time you see it, I'm like, well, that's just a bit weird. But then I thought maybe that's the whole setting up, because, the main character is supposed to arrive in the house and everyone is acting a little bit weird. So like, maybe that's just, that's just to show that he's a bit weird. And then at the end of the movie, I was like, hang on, that's why this person is running! Yeah. Oh my god, mind-blowing! That kind of stuff. Yeah. And then, of course, the whole exchange with the cop has a completely different dimension at the end of the movie to what you had at the beginning of the movie, that where they stopped after they hit the deer. And those are just some of the clever moments that are in there, but absolutely everything links into one another and references something or makes a point. Guys, I can't stop thinking about that movie. It's the one that I stopped watching, and then everything everyone said and they've done starts kind of puzzling itself into pieces.
Yeah.
You don't even need to... I mean, I think if you rewatch it again, you'll get a lot out of it as well, but it's more than that. It's the movie that it finishes and you're like, hang on, this is why that happened, and this is why that happened. And, like, the great thing about it is that they don't, like, bash you in the head with explanations. It is so well done that it forms together in your head perfectly afterwards.
It's one of those as well that you want to watch again immediately afterwards to kind of, now you know, you want to watch it again and be like, oh yeah.
Just notice all those little like hints of like, oh, you sneaky buggers.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just absolutely wonderful.
What I'm trying to say, guys, if, like me, you're not a fan of horror movies and you thought, I'm not going to watch Get Out because it's scary, it has some of its scary moments, but mostly it is the atmosphere of it. I wouldn't say they're, like, jump scares or...
The scariest thing is what it does to your brain, I think.
Yeah.
What it leaves
It
you
makes
with.
you think.
The whole idea is the scariest part of it.
Now we've learned that Bleezey's just terrified of thinking, so there you go.
We knew that anyway.
In my head, my point made sense, but, you know.
See, that's what happens when you think.
Exactly. It all goes convoluted and scary.
Moving on to something that is a little less taxing on the old noggin.
Why?
And Bleezey's going to speak about it.
I don't know. I think it's quite clever from what I heard from it, regardless, so...
Go on, Bleezey, tell us how this is clever.
So,
I have not watched it, so please no spoilers.
Me too.
okay, I was going to mention a minor spoiler as a point, but...
No.
Okay,
No.
I'll
No.
try and
Behave
work my way
thyself.
around it.
This is a no spoiler show.
Now that you've said no spoilers, all I can think of is spoilers. Anyway, I'm chatting about American Vandal, which is a show that I watched ages ago, and it seems like no one else has watched it, so I have no one to talk to about it. So hopefully, this way, can get some more people to chat to me about it. If needs be, you can always chat to me anytime. But yeah, basically, it's a mock documentary, sort of in the styles of like shows like Serial and Making a Murderer. However, the plot is...
Well, Making a Murderer is a documentary,
Yeah,
you know that, right?
but what I mean is
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
mocking the style of those documentaries. Cause,
Oh, sorry,
so
yeah. Okay, yes.
it follows the plot of a film student who is investigating another student's expulsion from a school because allegedly he drew 27 phallic symbols on the teacher's cars. And basically, like, one of the reasons that I love this show is everything is so serious. Like, no one lets up on the joke, and like everyone is investigating every single angle, every person.
And they take it super seriously because he drew knobs.
Exactly, they take it super seriously, and like there's literally a point where the guy's like, "Oh yeah, everyone thinks I did it. I totally didn't do it." And it's like, "What do they think you do?" It's like, drew the dicks, and like it's just so well like acted. I can't remember the accused guy's name.
I need to watch this.
Like the accused student's name. I've seen him in so many things, but he is just so well, because he kind of plays a little bit of a not really going anywhere student type thing, and that's why they think he did it.
Yeah.
But he plays it so well in the fact that he's kind of got to come to terms with this new life of, I don't go to school anymore, but all my friends do. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life because I got expelled and all this stuff. And it's weirdly like, at first it was just kind of a funny premise, and then as the story evolves, and you see the outcomes, and as they investigate different people and like different evidence comes to light, I actually started getting properly invested in it. And it was really weird because, like, I'm not going to spoil it, but like there's one episode, like 4 in, I remember watching it going, oh, I'm going to go to bed after this episode. And then they find like one bit of evidence towards the end of it. And I was like, oh, but that changes everything. I need to keep watching. And I watched the whole series in one night. And I went to bed at like 3 a.m. the next day and was just like, okay.
It's unlike you to get so into a show, so this must be good.
It was one of those things where, like, just every once in a while it would bring you back to, remember, this is kind of a joke because he drew dicks and all this stuff. And it's just so funny, like, seeing all this stuff. And like then they go into the backstory of like why they believed the accused did it, and
what's it on? Is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
it is
watch
really interesting, and like
it sounds really fun. It sounds like something I'd enjoy.
It gets a bit meta as well. Oh no, I can't say that because it's a spoiler, but
yeah,
it was a minor spoiler. But basically, there's a bit where it gets very meta, which I absolutely loved because it was like all the thoughts that I had were being portrayed in it, and yeah. So, but yeah, it's really, really interesting, and I'd highly recommend it to people.
Cool.
I just also really loved how it was shot as well because, it, like I said, it's in the style of like Making a Murderer and stuff, and they have like some of the camera shots and even the editing because it's a film student. The way that he edits it is very much like those shows. And so, like, there's bits where it's like the film student is chatting with other film production students, about how he's going to shoot it or discussing it, but then he'll cut to like a board of who the potential people could have done, and there's like they're crossing them out one by one, very similar to like all these shows. And it was just so, like, it's just really entertaining as well. And
Nice.
I know it's not going to be a show for everyone, so I'd say I think they're like 20, 25-minute episodes. If after 2 episodes you're not enjoying it, I'd probably stop, because that was the point where I went, I'm really enjoying this. This is very different to what I thought it was. Because, like, there are, like I said, the premise is still just spray painting dicks, so if you don't find that entertaining, it's probably not going to be for you.
Who doesn't like a dick joke? It's always funny. A dick joke is always funny.
But yeah, like, so it is one of those things where I am aware that it's probably not going to be for everyone, but I would at least give the first 2 episodes a go, and if you're not enjoying it after that, that's only like 40 minutes you've wasted of your life.
Lovely. Sounds really good. Thanks, Bleezey.
So that's something that you can check out over the long holiday break. But I'm also talking about a Netflix show again. It's Riverdale. Yep. I know you're so excited about me talking about Riverdale.
You can just insert a tumbleweed sound effect.
I'm waving a really small, tiny flag that says excited. Ooh.
I have a friend that watched it, and like the best advice she said on it is, I was just like, oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, God.
So it's on this mid-season hiatus now, so it's back in January. But like the last episode was just stupid, ridiculous. So there's this whole thing about the Black Hood, and he's murdering people in Riverdale because they're all sinners. It's like Jughead's now part of a motorcycle gang. Betty wants to join him, so she ended up, like, I don't care, I'm doing spoilers on this one because it's crap. She ends up doing a striptease while singing at a karaoke bar, which, singing karaoke, which they put into the motorcycle gang's clubhouse. So she starts stripping, and she's in like this black lingerie because she's all
Is it a reference to Gossip Girl or something?
No, because she apparently all the women have to do the snake dance to become a serpent, which is the name of the motorcycle gang. But she does it to the tune of Mad World, the Donnie Darko version.
Which version? The original one or the remake?
The remake, the cover that was in Donnie Darko.
How do you dance a striptease to a Mad World song?
You don't. It's the most inappropriate song for a striptease.
I actually fast forwarded because I felt so awkward, and I don't feel awkward around sexy things. So it's just like, that's just weird. That's just weird. I'm just going to skip past that bit. And then...
Yeah, this is not a show for me. I think it's the kind of show that would make me want to kick my TV in.
Did you want to... Because you wanted to try to watch it last time. Did you end up trying it or not yet?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No. I'm not sure that I wanted to watch it. I honestly can't remember.
You said you wanted to see, like, the first episode just to see what that was about.
Or to see how terrible it is. Yeah, no. I obviously came to my senses.
Because it got, like, so ridiculous that I had to keep watching to find out what the hell they were doing. And now it's going back to the point where it's like, just what the hell are you doing? It's like, what are you doing? Really? It's like, why are Archie and Jughead now running drugs?
Because that's what the kids do these days.
Oh, apparently so. Apparently so.
You know what? As much as the show pains me overall, I do enjoy Lauren's little recaps of this stupid, ridiculous, crazy stuff that's happening.
Lauren, was there anything you needed to think about in it?
No, so it's perfect for you.
It's perfect for you, Bleezey.
It's all pretty people having sex for the bulk of it.
Oh, no, I don't know what that is yet. So,
What, pretty?
No, sex.
No, I think you meant sex.
Bleezey, we'll have a conversation. I'll teach you.
She's got puppets.
About the birds and the bees. Yeah, I've got finger puppets. When the mummy finger puppet loves the daddy finger puppet.
When the mummy finger goes into the daddy.
No, actually, I'm not going to say that.
Say it.
I was going to say, isn't it usually the other way around?
Depends what you're into.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't kink shame.
No, you
never kink shame.
Or someone else. Or many people. It's your choice.
As long as they're consent.
Yeah, as long as it's consensual and you're not hurting anyone without a safe word.
And, obviously, overage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Appropriately aged. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, if they're underage, they legally can't give consent. So it would be non-consensual.
I love that we're specifying all this.
I'm somewhat worried that you're thinking that this is a warning just to me.
It is. It really is.
Just in case you were wondering.
Right, yeah, so Riverdale is just stupid. It's just stupid.
We do really appreciate you taking a bullet for all of us.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you for watching it so none of us ever have to.
So, oh god, there's this weird, like, lesbian storyline now.
Of
but
course.
It's not really lesbian. It's very, very strange. So, Josie from Josie and the Pussycats, she helped this girl Cheryl out because there was a drugging and raping, like, roofing kind of
lovely.
subplot as well. So, for some reason, Cheryl Blossom decides, like, she's, like, all over this guy, gets drugged, almost gets raped, and the Betty, Veronica, and Josie save her. Jump to the next week. Cheryl and Josie are BFFs, and Cheryl's helping her, like, launch her music career without the Pussycats and not telling them. And then, she, like, on the Halloween episode, there's this whole thing where Josie's getting threatening notes, and someone leaves, like, a pig's heart in her locker saying, if I can't have you, no one else can.
Oh, God.
And a picture of her.
I'm somewhat worried that Lauren's getting more and more sick as she chats about it. Is it having a physical reaction now?
It is a bit. If you're going to do lesbian, do it properly. Then, like, at the end of the episode, you see that it's Cheryl doing all that stuff to stop her going...
No.
Spoilers!
Was there finger puppets involved?
There were naked ladies.
I feel like...
Yeah, but it's like...
I feel like none of us are taking Riverdale seriously at this point.
I don't think you're supposed to.
You really
I don't think Riverdale takes itself seriously from the sounds of it.
Yeah, so you see Cheryl doing the doodle. It's like, oh my god, it's Cheryl, because she wants to keep her to herself and stop her dating people. And then the next episode, they're in the locker room with, like, towels on. And they're going... Cheryl's like, oh my god, Josie, your back's so knotted. For more attention,
God.
I have this lotion. Let me rub your back.
Ew,
Starts rubbing your back. It's just like,
Make it stop.
like, this is weird.
Hooray!
If you're going to do lesbians, do them properly. Come on.
Yes, in a world where we've got Orange is the New Black, we really don't need Riverdale attempting to do some
lesbians.
pseudo-90s lesbian
It's
bullshit.
like they've seen some lesbian porn and they're like, right.
We just need the intro.
Yeah, they've seen lesbian porn directed for men.
From the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Becky, you've got sauce on your shirt. Let me lick it off.
Oh no, let me clean
This
that.
has got really uncomfortable,
lick it.
guys. You're making me think.
Yeah, but about...
I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be the title of this episode. Bleezey thinks.
Yeah, stop making me
Guys,
think.
you're making me think. Yeah, so Riverdale is as ridiculous as ever, basically. Yeah, they've seemed to have forgotten the whole Black Hood thing and Archie's weird militia that he made.
It sounds completely incoherent.
It is. It is so convoluted.
I have no time for that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like my little brain part of the week. It's just like, I just put that on. It's like, what the hell? It's my soap. It's my soap opera.
That's fair. Yeah, everyone, we've all got our little skeletons in our closets of shows that we like to watch in secret.
I'd make no secret about it. I'll freaking tell you. But like, Monica used to watch The Only Way Is Essex, so I think this is slightly better.
That's just my family.
This has production value.
I forgot about that. Oh.
What did you say, Bleezey?
The Only Way Is Essex reminds me too much of my family.
That's a good thought.
Okay, because your family are from Essex, of course.
Well, my dad's side is from Essex.
Yeah, I know.
But I hope they're not like the characters in the show.
Just in case one of them listens, no, they're totally not.
Okay, let's move on to something that's a bit more interesting.
Yes.
And won't make Bleezey think at all.
It's fine. I'm going to be really quick because I don't really have anything to say except you have to absolutely watch it because Ultimate Beastmaster Season 2 is now on Netflix. I've talked about Season 1. It was absolutely... it was like the greatest recommendation ever because this is so enjoyable. But Ultimate Beastmaster is basically an obstacle course and 6 countries compete in it and you just watch this really fit people do incredibly tiresome tasks while there's different commentators commentating the event, and it's great. You lie in bed, you eat, you watch them, exercise the hell out of their bodies.
Is it like Ninja Warrior?
I think so. Someone made the comparison to today, and I think it's similar. But here's the thing: my selling point for the first season was that Terry Crews was one of the American commentators, and unfortunately, he's not a commentator for season 2 because they kind of changed it a little bit. There are different countries. For example, I'm really gutted because Korean commentators were absolutely like the best thing about season 1. They were just so ridiculous and so funny and just so great. And Korea is not in it at all.
Ah.
Different selection of countries. I think I'm not sure if Italy was there in the first season, but I'm definitely sure that France and India are there for the first time. But the show is saved absolutely and completely by the rivalry between the Italian commentators and the French commentators, which is
I can
gold.
imagine.
It is so good. It is so funny. You also got Chinese commentators, and the lady of the duo is just adorable and just makes the most ridiculous faces. Just please go have. Even if you don't think watching people exercise is fun, it's so not about that.
You've had me at Terry Crews.
Yeah, just at least watch the first season, which is fantastic and it's got my favorite Koreans in it. And second season, I watched the first episode yesterday and it was, I laughed a lot. It is not a sports show, it's a freaking comedy, you guys, and you must watch it.
Fantastic.
End of the show, right?
Absolutely. Ugh, don't swear at me.
Yeah, we've got nothing else of any note to really talk about.
We should just finish the show, right? We can go.
You'll make me cry. I need to speak about it.
I cried loads in the movie.
Oh,
so.
me too.
Okay, so we're going to speak about Star Wars, but before we go, obviously we're not going to talk about any spoilers, but
there's going to be absolutely zero spoilers.
But even if you guys listening don't even want to hear any kind of opinions or just want to go completely free into Star Wars,
like me, like I have been for the last 3 years.
I'm gonna put the timestamps in the show notes. So right now, if that's what you want to do, go into the show notes and fast forward to the point where we stop talking about Star Wars and you will be good.
Yes.
But again, no spoilers. Especially because I haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
What I was going to say before people started trying to be funny, I was going to say, well, that's your Christmas viewing all sorted. Let's move on to the biggest film of the year. My nice segue was ruined. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the Star Wars, and I was very, very happy that I got to finish work early and go see the midnight screening on Wednesday, and I came out of it.
Yeah, I saw episode 3. That's what we're talking about, right?
I will murder you.
Don't worry, I watched the right one, I think.
Are you sure? Did you go to a cinema?
I did go to a cinema, and then there was one film, and I was like, I've seen this film, and then there was another film after that film, which was new.
Wait, what?
Did you see Porgs? You went to the double. You went to the double.
It was like a load of people from work went, and I got dragged along, and I was like, yeah, let's...
Yeah, they did that here as well. Force Awakens and
Man,
Last Jedi.
I wanted to sleep really badly.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
You should have just slept through the frickin' Force Awakens. So what time did that start? Did that start on Wednesday?
Yeah, it started at 9 on Wednesday and went through till I think I got home about 3:45 on Thursday, and I had work.
Yeah, we got let out at 20 to 3. Yeah, 20 to 3 hours our film finished. Yeah. And luckily I lived around the corner, so it took me 10 minutes to walk home.
I had to walk an hour home, so...
Yeah, because it's a Wednesday and the tubes are screwed.
Should we discuss the film?
I thought, because no spoilers, we were just going to discuss my walk home.
Yes, so as soon as I came out, I wanted to see it again. I was so happy coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure me and Joe probably cried at the same bits.
Lots. I did that thing that I do when I get really overexcited and I cry a little bit. Like, at the opening, I won't go into, obviously, what happens and stuff like that, but in just the opening scene, I got so overexcited that, you know, when you feel like your heart's gonna burst a little bit and you kind of like...
I did that at Force Awakens when the scroll came up and I just started crying. I was like, oh my god, I did this time. I was good this time.
And then there were tears at other points for all sorts of other reasons, but yeah, mostly it was because I got way too overexcited and did the Joe thing of crying. Like when The Last of Us 2 trailer came out and I was like, ah!
I enjoyed it. Let me preface with that. I thought it was very long.
Because you're a child.
I thought... It was a bit all over the place.
It is overlong.
There was 3 spots I thought it was going to end.
Oh, there were 7. I counted them. It was partially because I really needed the loo. But I was just like, and it's going to end. And then it got to the point where other people in the cinema as well started clapping because they thought the credits were going to roll. And then it went on to something else. And they were like, oh.
I think it is overlong. I fully agree. There's one, I won't say which, but there is a big chunk that you could quite easily cut out and it would be a stronger film for it. But I still massively enjoyed it. It made me giddy because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and there were bits in it where I was just like, yes, this is Star Wars, and I just absolutely loved it. I also, what I loved about it was that there was so much room for character and story and character development.
Can we agree that Laura Dern is bae?
Laura Dern is just...
Laura Dern is always bae. I thought that was the law.
Yeah.
Oh,
she is always bae.
But she's super bae in this.
One thing that I did find really annoying about the film, actually, was it didn't really let any story progress too much before, like, cutting back to something else. And there was one bit which it proved my point exactly. Not going to say who, but
perhaps don't mention it.
It involves just
I think
a
I know
door,
what bit you're talking about.
and they're like, we need to open the door. And then they go, we're ready to open the door, and then it cuts away. And I went,
don't go any further. There are reasons why it cuts away, but don't discuss it further.
It just seems to be, they don't let anything progress much, and they're just like,
well, that's always the danger with an ensemble film. You know, there's a lot
too trigger happy to cut away to something else, and in the end it started getting frustrating because it was like, just show me. And it got to the point where you could start predicting when it was going to happen, and it's like, and cut away.
There are reasons. I'm not going to go explain why, because spoilers, but there are reasons why they did that.
But yeah, like I said, it was just a bit frustrating, and I did really enjoy the film. I will say that. I'm not going to rush out and see it again. I don't have that.
Oh, I want to see it again right now. I would go and see it again. I
want to see it as soon as I came out of the cinema.
I'm seeing it in a bit.
Yay!
You're gonna love it.
And I think we can all agree that Porgs are brilliant.
They're so cute!
Yeah, it got a bit annoying.
They did
it was the Baby Groot thing all over again. I was just like, okay.
Do you not like Baby Groot? Do we need to have a conversation?
You need to leave.
Honestly, it was just like, Baby Groot was driving me mad.
You need to leave.
Whoa!
You need to leave.
Baby Groot is amazing.
Do not swear on my podcast.
I didn't swear.
That was swearing. That was rude.
You're just going to bleep out everything I say.
I love the Porgs. I think I am a Porgaholic. I love the Porgs.
Because I had briefly seen them, because I went trailer free.
Yeah, me too. I didn't watch the trailers.
So I was walking through Westfield the other day, and they had the trailer on the screen. I just saw out the corner of my eye, like, the Porgle thing. I was like, oh, what the hell is that? Is that some, like, stupid kind of, like, cutesy character they're going to try and muscle in? And I just thought, like, the interaction between them and that certain character, it was just so cute. I love that.
One of my favourite jokes does involve them.
I'd seen pictures of Porgs before, like, because I was like you, Laura, I didn't watch any of the trailers, and I'm glad I didn't, because then everything was a surprise in the film.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking from the pictures, yeah, I'm going to love those guys, and yes, I did.
I will say, though, like, the Porgs did involve one of my favourite jokes in the film. And
yeah, I know which bit you're talking about.
And also there was a moment in the film which I think has been the most casual, badass moment I've ever seen in anything, probably ever.
What's incredible, actually, about this film is when you look at it, like, aside from being, like, a huge Star Wars fan and just loving it because of that, but it actually does such an incredible job of balancing the drama with what is expected of a Star Wars film.
But it's so funny as well.
Blockbuster. It's got so many layers, and I was just deeply, deeply impressed with how much attention was spent on character and drama and the story development. And, like, obviously, I'm not going to say why or go into specifics, but the key characters all had their time to shine, and they all had their story arcs that were fully developed. That's no mean feat in a film like this. So I think massive congratulations to Rian Johnson, and I'm super psyched for the trilogy that he's going to do, because if he can handle this and do it so well, I'm really excited about what he can do with a whole trilogy to himself. So yeah, I was very, very impressed.
Yeah, so this was, like, so much better than Force Awakens. I like Force Awakens.
I mean, I kind of like Force Awakens. I enjoyed it at the time and watched it again this week to remind myself, and it's a lot better than I remembered. But yes, it has issues.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to add is, I think it's so super, super cute that BB-8 bowed to Prince Harry and William on the red carpet.
Oh, I didn't see
Oh my god. I didn't see that. But I did see Laura Dern and BB-8 having a little conversation, which is probably the most adorable thing I've ever seen.
Oh, you need to send that to me. That sounds amazing.
Oh my god, yeah, if you Google, you'll find it's absolutely wonderful. She's just, like, knelt down and they're having, like, a little conversation on the red carpet, and it's just the best thing ever.
Also, some of the stormtroopers look really badass in that.
Everyone looks badass.
Like, there's just, like, design things which, because The Force Awakens was shown before, I noticed there were certain design changes they made, and I was just like, I'll be honest, I started considering maybe I do want to play Battlefront 2 just because I want to play as that stormtrooper.
No, don't tarnish this.
I mean, you know, that shall not be named ever.
But yeah, the visual design is, of course, outstanding, and yeah, I mean, we've said it all, haven't we? Like, the film is magnificent, and as a Star Wars fan, I absolutely loved it.
As not a Star Wars fan, I got a fair amount of enjoyment from it.
Good. That is good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Lauren back on side, so I'm not completely bleeped out this episode.
I think you'll enjoy it, Alex. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I can't
It's
wait.
good
I
fun.
think I'm watching it at 5:00 tonight, and
Send us all the messages. Send us all the messages. Because we've been really good. Like I didn't send anything to you guys, which is like, okay.
No, I know.
I saw so many
yeah.
memes. No memes have been sent. They're all just stored in my phone. Like, when's the
You've
safe
got to say,
zone?
don't, because you'll just get
I
murdered.
know. I'm
so
waiting till like.
the vegan hellhounds will come.
I'm thinking
and get you.
like February is the safe
no one
time.
will understand this reference, Joe.
I know, but
Okay, so at the end of that spoiler-free Star Wars synopsis, I suppose, we're gonna end the episode. So we're gonna do some shout-outs. Bleezey, do you want to do the forums?
Yes. So the forums is Stinger and It's Your Boy Josh.
Who's that?
No. Who's that? That's not the name written there.
who's that?
That's not the name written there.
Oh, it's Geek Speak's #1 fan.
No,
Confirmed?
that's not the name written there.
100% confirmed. Come at me,
No,
bro.
that's Gabriel.
No,
That's
it's me.
Gabriel.
It's
No,
me.
No,
It
it's
was
Will.
me all
Oh,
along.
no, it's Will. No, Gabriel's the #1 Latin fan named Gabriel.
I
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
the #1 Gloucestershire fan.
You're not in
oh my
Gloucestershire.
god,
You live in London now.
#1 Northwest London fan.
No, that would probably be Tim.
No.
Bleezey, you don't have to be #1
Not
at everything. It's
#1
okay.
youngest fan. Oh wait, is Will younger than me? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You're the #1 fan with Bracken in his name.
I just want to be #1 at something.
You're the #1 bracket.
You're the #1
Yeah, so
Bracken.
anyway, It's Your Boy Josh was secretly Bracken
No.
all along, so,
No,
you know.
that's not the name on the sheet. Read it out. Read it.
I said a really nice message on it. Are you really going to make me... It's me. It's Bleezey.
It's Bleezey. Very good.
And I did say a really nice message, so everyone should read it and then read the proper name.
Alex, do you want to do Twitter?
Twitter, we want to say thank you to Gabriel Roma at Slipperhit79, Stealthy Joe at Stealthy Joe, and Will Driver at Will Driver 93.
Joe, do you want to do YouTube?
Certainly. So a big thank you and hello to Obsessive Compulsive Gamer on YouTube. Thanks very much.
Hello, I'm waving at my mic.
Yes, me too. And then you realise no one can see me.
I do it so often. It's like the other week I was making a point and I was getting so into it. I started just pointing at my wall.
Oh, I do. I gesticulate wildly, and then I'm sat here on my own, like with only the cat.
And
So
the cat
it's
is like, WTF, what is she doing?
I do that on PlayStation all the time. I'm like, guys, look at this, and I'll point at something on my desk, and then it takes a while.
wow.
Divot.
It makes me think.
That's dangerous. And on Facebook, Ricardo Kirkison. Hey, I backseat #2 fan fair and square. I don't have to fight anyone for it. Well done.
To be fair, he has got a point.
Yeah.
He certainly has, but I do feel that maybe we're at the point where there needs to be some kind of like deathmatch situation to sort this out once and
Ooh,
for all.
I am ready.
With claymation.
Oh,
Sorry.
Sure.
I feel like I'd lose to Clay.
Celebrity deathmatch.
Oh, I missed Celebrity Deathmatch. That was so much fun.
Yeah, that was a good show. That was good.
I found a massive cable to hook up the projector to the speaker system, so now I might just put on Celebrity Deathmatch on the projectors at
Sure.
work.
Yeah, go for it. Why not? I think actually people would quite enjoy it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in so long. For episode 117 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, if you want to get in contact with us, you can do so on BigRedBarel.com. On the forums on there, you can go to Twitter at BigRedBarel and use the hashtag GeekSpeak, or you can use our personal Twitters. I am at the Sweet Shrimp.
I'm a Dusted Tulip _
I'm at Pixel Ritual.
Oh, and I am at Bleezey Boy.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you can also go to YouTube, youtube.com/BigRedBarel leave us a little comment there. You can go to Facebook, facebook.com/BigRedBarel, leave us a nice little comment there. You can also check out the Big Red Barrel Gamer Nights groups on there, and they have the Destiny clan, which is on, I believe the clan is PC and PS4. Is there an Xbox one as well?
It's across all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. You can also go to iTunes and give us a little comment there. So, Tabletop Tuesday has finished for the year 2017, but Alex and Tim will be at Loading Bar Scenario in Dalston if you want to go over, say hi, play some games with them. Be a nice, chilled, Christmassy kind of vibe. And Cooking the Boobs... Cookie and Boobs.
Cookie and Boobs.
Cookie and Boobs.
Slippery
Cookie and Boobs
slope.
is...
You're watching too much Riverdale.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cookies and Booze is currently on their Christmas hiatus, and we will let you know when they come back. Have I missed anything?
I want to give one last shout out before we go. Guys, we are recording our last episode, Christmas special episode of this year on the 23rd of December. That means anyone who wants to send their nominations for their favorite things this year, your deadline is 22nd, and that's a cutoff date. If I don't receive your nominations for your titles, favorite movies, favorite films, favorite board games. Did I say films and movies at the same time?
I did that earlier.
Yeah, but that's
It's
cool.
fine.
I was chatting about stuff and I was like, oh yeah, we discussed films and movies, and I was like, they're the same thing.
Anyway, so yeah, your cutoff date is 22nd. Send it by then, and we will include this in the episode.
Fantastic. So for episode 117 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, I have been Lauren.
I've been Butts.
I've been Pork Butts.
I have been Christmassy Bleezey, because I'm not going to be around next week.
And we bid you goodbye.
Bye. Butts.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
To BigRedBarel.com
for more podcasts?
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.